So as an example, I think one of the things that have been conflated by many, many people, including Mr. Mahan in this respect, is that when you have people that are behaving in a criminogenic way, they're violent, they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing, they need to be engaged in the criminal justice system. If there's somebody who is somebody who's just mentally ill, they're living on the streets, they're being, they so can't take care of themselves that they're a victim of crime on the streets, they're not able to eat, they're so addicted to meth that they're not making good choices. To me, that should lead to a conservatorship. So we do have the process to do that now. The challenge is that the bar for somebody to be conserved is so high that it forces us into this situation, which I think where Care Court could help us, which is to put us in a situation where we're really trying to persuade somebody to get services so they opt into them. And that's what I think when they made the original changes to conservatorship, maybe, and I don't know how many years ago this was, that I think the intent was to have the mental health community really learn how to persuade someone to get support and help versus what happens right now, right? But the challenge is that there are a whole bunch of people that fall between being able to be persuaded to get help and who are just so unhealthy they can't make a decision. And again, the bar is so high that it's very difficult to conserve them. So I do believe in conservatorship. I think it can be a very important tool. Now, one thing we do in our county, and I think this is probably state law, is every year we evaluate people who are in a locked facility to determine whether or not they can be brought down to a less severe level of service. And that, again, I think needs to be extraordinarily rigorous so that we really are moving people into the right level of care and service. Part of our strategy here around housing is a housing first model. And what that means is that what we used to do, again, this was a long time ago, maybe before I was in, definitely before I was as a member of the Board of Supervisors, but what we used to do is we used to offer people services, and then once they got clean and sober, we would house them. What the county, we had a decision to make when I got on the board, which was, were we going to continue that? Or were we going to lean in and help on the housing front? And here was our challenge. Cities are responsible for housing. Counties are responsible for mental health and drug and alcohol services, for Medi-Cal, for folks who are on Medi-Cal or who are uninsured. So the question for us was, do we wait for San Jose and other cities to house people before we provide services? And ultimately the decision that myself and my colleagues made was that we were going to treat housing like medicine. So that put us into making sure that even if somebody's seriously mentally ill, we're getting them housed, and then we're trying to do our very best to attach services to them so they stay housed. The good news is, even for seriously mentally ill folks, we're keeping them housed at about a 93% rate. So my goal would be to make sure that that is the path.